Welcome back to NaturalOne, the YouTube channel equivalent of a gas station hot dog. Still warm, definitely questionable, and somehow we keep serving them. Today, we're diving into the Desert Doom himself, Ganondorf. The guy's been everything from a stoic warlord, to a shirtless magic beefcake, to a literal pig demon who just won't die. He's power incarnate, evil personified, and the reason every princess in Hyrule keeps a sword under her pillow. From Ocarina's King of Thieves to Tears of the Kingdom's immortal beef slab, Ganondorf's not just a villain, he's the villain. So let's see if we can bring this mix of divine rage, dark sorcery, and unreasonably good hair into D&D without getting sealed in the basement for 1,000 years.
Hyrule will bow down before me.
Ganondorf's stats look exactly like what happens when your entire personality is, what if evil, but sexy and immortal? What? Who said that? Let's see how this translates to D&D 5e. We're starting with a 15 in strength, because when Ganondorf throws a punch, the tectonic plates call in sick. Every swing of that greatsword feels like he's trying to personally delete Hyrule from the map. Next is a 14 in charisma, because this man doesn't just lead armies, he monologues them into existence. Every smirk, every slow clap, every pathetic hero speech has its own gravitational pull. A 13 in Constitution, because surviving centuries of sealing, stabbing, and getting dropkicked through timelines isn't easy. This is why he keeps coming back. A 12 in Dexterity goes to those deceptively smooth movements, because for someone built like a fortress, he dances around a duel like he's auditioning for Dark Souls' final boss showcase. And I'm not just saying that because I suck at parrying. Putting that 10 in Intelligence means he's smart enough to rule a kingdom, but not smart enough to stop reincarnating into the same losing matchup. Maybe one day he'll try diplomacy. Maybe. And finally, an 8 in Wisdom. Because no matter the universe, the century, or the reincarnation, Ganondorf still looks at the kid in green with a wooden sword and an unreasonable hatred for clay pots and goes, yeah, I can take him.
I'll get you yet, Lincoln Zelda!
Ganondorf's race is reborn, because you don't get called the King of Evil without dying a few times first. The man's been sealed, stabbed, vaporized, and still keeps coming back with better armor and worse intentions. This gives him a +2 to strength and a +1 to constitution, because he's powered by spite and centuries of gym time. Perception and Arcana fit perfectly for someone who's seen every rise and fall of Hyrule and knows exactly how to twist its magic to his will. Deathless nature makes him the guy who refuses to stay down no matter how many stages you throw at him. And knowledge from a past life means every time he swings that sword, he remembers every version of himself that almost won. For background, we're taking Noble, because, I already said it. He's the king of evil. He's cunning, commanding, and terrifyingly persuasive. The kind of ruler who can convince any army to follow him into a collapsing castle just for one more shot at destiny.
The Triforce of Wisdom! Mine at last!
Ganondorf kicks in at level 1 as a warlock, because of course he does. Hexblade makes the Sword of Power, powerful. Hexblade's Curse turns someone into a walking target. Hex Warrior is him swinging the sword like it's attached to his wrist, and Pact Magic is him zapping idiots who thought they could stop him. Green Flame Blade is that purple fire he has, perfect for if you're colorblind. Blade Ward keeps him unbothered, Hex spreads chaos, and Shield is classic don't touch the king energy. Deception and Intimidation are self-explanatory. He's terrifying and he knows it. Level 2 is the upgrade stage. Cause Fear makes anyone in his way cry a little inside, while Mask of Many Faces lets him look like whatever iteration of him is your favorite. You can let us know which one you'll be doing in the comments. Did I do it? Did I do the YouTuber thing right? Awesome, next level. Level 3 is Sword Flex time. Pact of the Blade makes the Sword of Power feel like a cutscene. Misty Step is a good, albeit limited, smash recovery move, and an improved Pact weapon makes every hit feel like the world is ending. Link? Probably screaming. Moblins? Definitely dead. Level 4 gets us a level in Barbarian. Rage is perfect for Ganondorf. I too would be mad if I kept getting beaten by a little green quiet elf man. Unarmored Defense says armor is for peasants. He's basically a tank already. Level 5 doubles down with a second level in Barbarian. Danger Sense keeps him dodging everything Link tries because fighting heroes is basically cardio at this point. Reckless Attack is committing so hard to a swing that it would make even a cutscene director blush. At third level of Barbarian, Ganondorf leans fully into the path of the giant. Giant's power turns every swing of the Sword of Power into a literal Hyrule earthquake. Giant's havoc means villages, carts, and Link's plans are collateral damage. And of course, athletics is basically him tossing boulders, carts, and maybe a heroic elf or two. All in a day's work for the King of Evil. Switching things up at level 7 with a dip into Paladin. Now, you might be thinking, wait, what? And to that I say, Divine Sense keeps every meddling fairy and elf in check, while Lay on Hands doubles as self-care. Because after centuries of being beaten by a little green troublemaker, sometimes the king has to patch himself up. By level 8, we're taking a second level in Paladin, and Ganondorf is refining the art of dramatic overkill. Great weapon fighting makes sure every Sword of Power swing looks like a cutscene, and Divine Smite turns those swings into a fire and thunder spectacle. Searing Smite, Thunderous Smite, and Wrathful Smite all stack up to make sure anyone standing against him regrets it. Level 9 and he gets Channel Divinity, saying, I am the king, but in mechanical form. That's right, he's a Conquest Paladin. Conquering Presence makes the room flinch, Guided Strike ensures the Sword of Power lands, Divine Help keeps him alive long enough through elf shenanigans, and Harness Divine Power tops up his metaphorical fuel tank. As for spells, Armor of Agathis makes anyone who hits him regret it, and Command is just him ordering the battlefield around like it owes him rent. Level 10, Paladin level 4, and we finally get our first feat, the Slasher feat. This gives us a +1 to strength getting it to 18, because Ganondorf keeps leveling up his menace. Cure Wounds? How else do you think he gets to full health when Link, fails during the boss fight? At level 11, Ganondorf finally receives extra attack, because one swing of the Sword of Power is never enough. Hold Person is him freezing pesky heroes mid-scream, and Spiritual Weapon? Well that feels like something that would happen in a boss fight, right? Level 12 grants the 6th level in Paladin, which unlocks Aura of Protection. Anyone standing near him suddenly has a harder time failing their rolls, which is just Ganondorf saying, don't fail me, minions. Plus, Branding Smite adds a little flair to every hit, literally marking enemies as his problem for the rest of the day. Level 13 and a 7th level in Paladin, and Aura of Conquest enters the scene. This makes everyone within range a little more scared, a little less confident, and a lot more likely to get obliterated by the Sword of Power. Intimidation in mechanical form, if you will.
You took for granted the godlike power you had in your hands. Do you now see the potential you squandered?
From level 14, we pop back to Warlock level 4, and this is where the dark side gets a solid boost. +2 in Constitution makes him annoyingly hard to take down. Create Bonfire is great for doing some of his purple smash fire, and Darkness is Ganondorf saying, welcome to my shadow, peasants. Also, it will be mechanically helpful later. Level 15 brings us Warlock level 5, and he grabs Devil's Sight, because of course he sees through his own dramatic smoke and shadows. Summon Lesser Demons brings a horde to every battle, because why face Link solo when you can bring backup in the form of a ton of moblins? Level 16 shows us Warlock level 6. Accursed Spectre turns anyone he's taken down into a temporary ghostly minion. Perfect for making dramatic entrances and scaring anyone wandering his castle halls. Hunger of Hadar blankets an area in ominous darkness, making it unwise to go there at low levels. Even if there is really good loot that Link wants. Level 17 equals Eldritch Smite, which turns a Sword of Power swing into pure cinematic devastation. Shadow of Moil wraps him in fire and shadow, giving that perfect villain glow while Link screams somewhere off screen. Level 18 and we'll go with another level of Warlock, getting it to 8. Tough boosts his absurd durability because surviving centuries of Hero of Time shenanigans takes more than just arrogance. Summer Greater Demon calls in the heavy hitters, Lynels. Level 19, and how does another level in Warlock sound? One with shadows makes him essentially a moving shadow, ideal for surprise attacks or menacing fade-outs. Negative Energy Flood punishes anyone foolish enough to stand nearby. Warlock level 10, and the Hexblade Pinnacle. And the pinnacle of the build, but I'm sure you kind of figured that out. Anyway, Armor of Hexes is basically, try to roll a 20 against me. I dare you. Oh, and to wrap all of it off in a nice tight bow, True Strike. Just because we all know it's the best cantrip in the game.
It would have been more satisfying to overcome a worthy foe.
Ganondorf doesn't just crash the party, he is the party. Let's break down why the King of Gerudo is still dominating Hyrule after all these centuries. To start off, he's got the Triforce of Power. Ganondorf doesn't just show up, he commands the battlefield. Between all the Hexblade and Paladin smites, every swing of the Sword of Power feels like he's dropping a cinematic final boss move straight out of Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess. He's got fear and intimidation galore, with Cause Fear, Hexblade's Curse, Conquering Presence, Shadow Spells, but basically anyone foolish enough to oppose him immediately regrets it. Moblins, Lionels, even little Koroks aren't safe from that "I'm the Gerudo King and you're in my castle" energy. This is psychological warfare with a side of actual sword swings. And he's got the support of the Hyrule army. Well, not the actual Hyrule army, but an army to conquer Hyrule. From a cursed specter to summon lesser and greater demons, Ganondorf doesn't solo a fight, he brings the whole villain ensemble. Hyrule is basically a do not enter zone, because if you're facing him, his minions are already crashing through the walls. Strategy, chaos, and stage presence all in one terrifying package. And he's got a massive health bar. Between High Constitution, Barbarian Rage, Divine Health, and a whole suite of defensive tricks, Ganondorf is the kind of boss that doesn't just die. Hit him once, he smirks. Hit him 10 times, he laughs, swings, and probably wrecks a tower in the process. Basically, he's a walking, Hyrule-shaking health bar. Even a King of the Gerudo can stumble. Let's take a look at Ganondorf's weaknesses. Start off with a low wisdom. Ganondorf is terrifying, cunning, and a strategic mastermind. But low wisdom and intelligence make him surprisingly easy to trick when someone sneaks around his castle and grabs all of the good weapons before starting to explore the rest of the map. Or something else, not quite as specific. He's also an angry big warlock. Smashing everything in sight is fun, but Barbarian Rage and concentration spells do not mix. Ganondorf has to pick. Go full on smash mode, or maintain Wrathful Smite and other concentration effects. Timing is crucial, and he's not exactly subtle with it. And also, wait, you know what? No, I'm gonna say something. I have to vent about this. I hate what they did to Divine Smite in the 2024 rules. Making it both a concentration spell and a bonus action completely ruins, like, everything. Like, I love the fact that I can smite and range. That's just so cool to me. Or just, like, have a Nova turn. And that's just not possible in the same way in 2024, and I'm not having it. Now, what was I going to say again? That's Ganondorf, the King of the Gerudo Desert, wielder of the Sword of Power, and the guy who somehow keeps returning every timeline to remind Link that he is not the hero he asked for. He smites like a final boss cutscene straight out of Ocarina of Time, drops minions like he's running a Hyrule-scale mob system, and has a health bar longer than the Great Deku Tree's patience. If you want a build that crashes into initiative like a Lionel through a village wall, lays down chaos like a fully cursed castle, and still finds time to look broody while the Wind Waker plays, this is your king. If you found this even remotely interesting, smash that like button like it's a Triforce shard, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And while you're down there, grab every build we've ever made for free on Patreon. Drop a comment with who you want to see next, whether it's a different type of baddie, a classic hero, or some other character we haven't done yet. And until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little, richer.